What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. It is the third day of May, and I am away from home. We are traveling. I will not be in this area for too much longer. We've got about another a few hours here, and then we're going to be heading out. But this is a little pit stop for the day. Anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about you, Bitcoin. Hit that like button again, you guys. Subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I had some people tell me the mic was too quiet last time. I checked, and I thought the mic sounded louder than it normally does. I turned up the volume a little bit today, so hopefully it's not too loud, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This is the first video that I've made in a couple days, so let's just get on it, okay? 9 hours, 8 minutes, 78.7K is the price. 9 hours, 8 minutes left in the day here. We are consolidating. We are still in this area, and to me, my friends, this area seems very similar to what we saw back here. It's a very similar kind of endeavor as far as the price action goes. We were rounding off the top here, and then we saw a nice plummet. I mean, how fast did we drop? It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days time. We definitely didn't find the low on the 6th day, but from a high to a low, we did drop about 10% over 6 days, you guys. That's no small accomplishment for Bitcoin there. That is rather gruesome in a week's period, okay? I want you guys to be aware of something real quick, all right? I have a bit of a curse. I don't know what it is, but whenever I'm traveling, anytime that I'm traveling at all, it's like 90% of the time we do see a drop in the markets, at least in my time in crypto. Since 2015, I've noticed that any time that I'm on vacation or traveling at all, really that's whenever the market dumps. So it's the weekend. We haven't seen a whole lot of dropping over the last couple of days. We're kind of chilling, consolidating. Right now, this day is looking kind of nice, actually. We're perking up a little bit, but we are seeing some indecision, okay? Whenever you have weeks, or whenever you have a day that looks like this, whenever you have wicks to the upside and you have wicks to the downside like this is indecisive territory. Being indecisive at the lows can be a bullish preposition, and being indecisive at the highs can be a bearish preposition. It can definitely have that bearish foreshadowing upon it. Nevertheless, we could see higher prices. It is completely possible that we do go above these highs. I want to look at the short-term stuff and see how likely that is. Is that going to be the call by the end of this video? You'll have to wait and see. It's quite possible that these are the highs. It's the call that I'm sticking with so far, but by the end of this video, who knows? Maybe we'll be calling for slightly higher highs and then moving down. Let's see real quick if we look at this. Man, I might just do the hotspot on my phone from now on, because this internet is actually faster than my usual internet is. That's kind of sad. Like, why do I even need internet? Though I think I have better service out here too. We're kind of more in the city. Even with that being said, it's still kind of slow. All right, let's see. Over the last day, yes, there are about as many longs as shorts, but it's the weekend, so I'm not too worried about that. Over the last 30 days, and again, it is still kind of slow because it's the hot spot, I think. But here we've got a lot more longs than shorts. Absolutely. $6 billion in shorts, more than double that in longs. We could come up again a little bit. Maybe we go up to about $80,000 and clear out all of these short positions. Clear out about $3 billion, roughly half the short positions there, and then we short, and then we move back down. But I fully do expect that we are going to drop from here, because typically, whenever you move up over the weekend, we move down over the week. When we move down over the weekend, we move up over the week. And I don't know if you guys have seeing eyeballs or not, but over the last 2 days here, we've got green days. The weekend started here on Friday, so we are up over the weekend. This weekend here, going back to April 19th, we dropped down. We dumped, and we were very bullish at the lows because of that. This weekend back here, we dumped down from the Friday close. We were down, so we were very bullish at the lows because of that. Last week, we were actually up. We were up a little bit from Friday, and we did say, for some reason, and this is not TA, this is more of an observation. For some reason, and I guess TA is observations essentially, but this observation is that whenever we drop over the weekend, we typically get that pump on Monday. But if we pump over the weekend like we did here, sometimes we actually pump into Monday like we did here, and then we drop Monday or Tuesday. So even though it is Sunday, even though we have about 9 hours left in this day, it's looking like this weekend is going to close above Friday. We're going to have a green weekend. That'll leave a gap below, a CME gap below for us to fill going to the downside. Even though that happens, maybe tomorrow, Monday, maybe even Tuesday, we push up a little bit higher, and we extend this kind of rounded top. I don't expect that if we push higher that it's going to be a tremendous amount. I do expect that if we push higher, it would be oh so slightly above this high. and we might barely get above 80K. Just enough, again, to clear out all these positions here, about 3 billion or so in short positions here. But let's get to the short-term stuff. All right, let's talk about the short-term stuff and look at this on the 1 hour. You can see clearly that this has some bearish premonitions. Definitely bearish stuff, right? We've got a lot of volume building as we're dropping here. And then as we're moving up, a little bit of volume's coming in. It's nice to see. It's definitely nice to see. And then you had a lot of volume here at the top, which is also nice. But the thing is, you know, if this was kind of a standalone thing here, if we were moving up and it was an overall like progress from like here, like if we had an uptrend, if it wasn't in this consolidation phase, I don't know how to word it properly, I'm sorry, but if this wasn't at a point where we had earlier found resistance here, it would look more bullish. The fact that you have a lot of volume here at the top where you found resistance before, that's not a good thing, guys. It is good relative to this move, it's good, but relative to all of this, it's not a good thing. Whenever you get a lot of volume like this, I mean, we look at this on the 1 hour time frame. We're on the US dollar tether pair with Binance, the biggest exchange for Bitcoin in the world. Okay, whenever you have this much volume in comparison to all these things here, I mean, this is pretty excessive volume. This is an excessive volume spike, and it was coming in the form of a lower high. Coming in the form of what appears to be a breakout, but again, I think this is false behavior. I think this is a trap, and I think what we're seeing here is a bit of a BART formation. We could still see a higher price and then drop down. I wouldn't be surprised at all. We might even get above these highs. After all, we look at this here from a high dating back to January of this year to the low here at the beginning of February this year. The golden ratio is right there at 81.2K. We could go right there, you guys. We could go right there. Just missing the golden ratio is bearish enough, but maybe we go exactly right there. We tip it, and then we move down. If we take the all-time high at 126K from back in October, the high to the low here in February, the 382 is right there at 79.7K, and we technically skimmed it. We got close. This is good enough, in my opinion. We don't have to touch it, but it's very common with the 382 to wick a little bit above it. And if we wicked a little bit above it, we'd hit the golden ratio. We'd find resistance at a common place here. I mean, maybe there is a little bit of room to move higher. Again, that's not the call. I'm not making that call. I'm not standing on that right now. I'm just entertaining the thought, especially while we're here. It's completely possible. But again, assuming that we are going to see some type of drop coming in next week, maybe it's not Monday, maybe it's not tomorrow, maybe it's not Tuesday. Perhaps Monday or Tuesday we're sitting above 80K on both of those days. It's very possible. We could go to 81K. It's very possible. It's not the call, it's just something to be aware of, because if it happens, even if the call is moving down, which that is the call, is to move down, we can move up. We can move all the way up here and still move down, guys. And still, and not just down, but below this area here, below these lows here, like a rapid crash, like 10% in 1 week. Like we saw last time in the last consolidation phase, where it was very similar. I mean, imagine here, we're at 81.5K. and we drop 10% in 1 week. That would mean that by the end of this next week, you guys, we'd be down below 74K. What if we drop 10% here and we're at these highs? You know, we'd be probably below about 70K. Maybe we drop half that. We're only down 5%. We're still back down at this 75K area. We're probably going to have some type of drop coming our way, you guys. That's all I'm trying to get at here. 71 or 78.7K now. Looking at the 1 hour time frame, we do have what looks to be a bit of a downtrend in the RSI, lower highs, lower lows. It looks to be a bit of a trend. We're coming in at the appropriate area. I do think we can move up a little bit higher, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we might be able to move up a little bit higher, but what we're looking for here is one of two things. It doesn't necessarily have to be a rejection off of this green line. We can stop right here. We can go lower. We can come up higher and even through the green line and find resistance at the overbought zone. What we're looking for to the bearish effect is that we don't get overbought. If we get, and we especially don't get a higher high. If you get overbought or you get a higher high, the likelihood that we go above 80K, you guys, it's there. If I'm not, I probably won't be making a video. I'll be getting on the ship that we're going on a cruise. I'll probably be en route to that if we are, you know, seeing this move happen. I would assume that the telltale sign will be if we're in the overbought zone. Even if we don't get a higher high, but I would expect if we get in the overbought zone, we will see a higher high. That will likely mark a move that takes us above any of these highs. We probably do move to 80K. So just be aware of that. Now, if 1 hour we're up here and then the next hour we're coming down, even if you got a little bit into the overbought zone, if we see something like this, that could mark the exact top. That might be exactly where it is. I don't care if it comes in a wick or on a closing body, whatever, but that would probably mark that here. We do have lower highs in the RSI with higher highs in the price. We don't have higher highs here yet, but if we do, we are set up for double bearish divergence. The stochastics have a little bit of bearish divergence as well. And the The MACD is bullish overall. I mean, if we're looking at this for what it's worth, the 1 hour RSI does look bullish overall. I don't like this. I don't like this trend. That makes me, I guess I like it if I'm a bear, and I am bearish. That does make me have bearish presumptions. But again, if we get into the overbought zone, that takes that away entirely. Right here, from here, this would give us the presumption that we are working our way down to the oversold zone. Okay, that's what I would assume. Just like here, when you're in an upward sloping trend, you would assume that it ends in the overbought zone, right? Whenever you're here in an upward sloping trend, it ends in the overbought zone. Okay, typically, not always, but typically. Okay. But again, that goes out the window if we get overbought. That goes out the window entirely. And I mean, we really do look bullish overall on the 1 hour RSI. Stochastics technically look bullish here too. And the MACD scooping the zero like this above the zero, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look half bad at all, to be completely fair. We have 58 minutes left in this 1 hour. Let's see how it goes. Let's see how it closes. As we're moving higher here, there was no volume at all. You had a big wick. That's not a good sign. You rejected down, but then you came back up. You had a higher low. That kind of is a good sign. There's this, there's that. It's the weekend. We're moving sideways. It's just boring price action. That's what it is. Okay, we're moving up here. Not a lot of volumes coming in, but again, it's the weekend. Let's see how the next 24 hours unfolds. It's completely possible. It is completely possible that we will be above 80K within the next 24 hours. Okay, but I'm still sticking with the idea that we have a double top here, a little bit of resistance there. Looking at this on the 4 hour time frame. Again, you can see the rounding nature of this, right? You can see it from the lows. This is a bit of a telltale sign, but it's really the highs, okay? Whenever you're looking for a rounding, it's like if you were coming in from the top side and you're looking for a rounded bottom, you use the lows. You don't really use the highs of the range, but it kind of does come hand in hand. Really, the lows are kind of showing it here, but the highs, that rounded kind of curvature. And the thing is, we could even see a higher high, and it is still rounding to some degree, right? It's not, you can see that it's dying off. It's not picking up. I mean, if we break out, if we get above 84, 85K, all right, then we're in a bull market, you guys. But until that point, I maintain that we are still in a bear market. Looking at this on the 4 hour time frame here, the MACD is getting close to a red cross. You've been green for quite some time on the MACD. You do have lower highs here dating back to this, and you kind of are in that proper trajectory as well. We've been actually discovering that this kind of trajectory with the oscillators is very helpful, actually, with the MACD. Not always, but very helpful whenever it comes to trends. You know, here you've kind of got this, right? These lower lows here. And if you bought whenever you interacted with this trend line, you might not have bought the exact low, but you still bought right around that low area, right? It might not have been the exact low, but still roughly in that low area. Whenever you broke out of this trend here of these lower highs, right? Look at that. Lower high there, connecting the dots exactly. Whenever you broke that trend there, that was the beginning of this uptrend. Well, you're in a bit of a downtrend here. If you were to come down, this has all been above the zero. If you were to come down from here and reject, you'd probably get a lower low as well. And rejecting below the zero like this, building bearish momentum, I really do believe that would send us below this level here. And I mean, if we get below that level there, this rounded top, it's going to cause a crash. Typically with these rounded tops, the way that they behave, I mean, we don't even have to take my word for it. We can go back and look at one, for example. But the way that they behave is whenever it does break, it's very fast. It's very sharp. We're going to see a bigger move down than anything that we've seen to the upside or downside. Like this was a nice move up. This was a nice move up. This was a nice move up. But the moves down are bigger. We're going to see a bigger move down. It's going to be a bigger move down than any of the moves up or moves down that we've seen since really the beginning of April. We go back. Let's see here. Let's look at the last kind of rounded top that we had right over here. I think this is it. Oh, I don't know what I just did there. I moved the volume. Oh no, that's what I did. That's okay. Yeah, we're looking at this rounded top here. Okay, you can kind of see the rounded top structure. Whenever we dropped, okay, this was a sudden shift, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this right here, right? That was a bit of a sudden shift. You did kind of lag for a second, but whenever you did drop, it was a pretty sudden shift. You had like 2 different sudden shifts there. That might not even be the best example, but that's kind of what we're going for. That's what we're looking for here. We look at this on the daily time frame. And you can see, again, you kind of have this rounding top overall, right? Like you're rounding off here. And that might not be a good example, but maybe just this part here. Whenever you did drop, whenever you fell through this consolidation phase, you dropped at a very, very fast pace. It's the same thing as like breaking out of any kind of consolidation range. Whenever you break out, you typically see those breakout moves. But with rounded tops specifically, you do see a sudden shift down. 4 hour time frame. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to get the volume pulled up here. Hold on. The MACD as green as it is, as nice as it's been getting above the zero, living above the zero here, you're typically not green for this long. And if you are green for longer, it's typically not that much longer, okay? It's been some time since we've seen some red. It's been a little bit of time here, a few days, and I think that we are due for some red. If we can cross red and provide a false cross or bounce off the zero, that would be very bullish. If you can break out of this trend, this lower high trend, that would be very bullish as well. But we're not there yet, so I'm taking the bearish perspective, especially with the fact that overall you've been above the zero for some time and it looks like you're starting to show your hand to the downside. I'm taking that lower high, lower low trend as a hint that you're going to take some bearishness here. The RSI is struggling to get overbought, but I will admit this is not necessarily bearish. This, I mean, you look at this overall, this is a very bullish RSI. This is ideal. Getting overbought consistently, man, you rejected the overbought zone. This should have been the beginning of your bearishness, but nope, here you are still contesting with the best of them, man. It is a lower high, to be fair, but it's looking better than I would have thought it would, you know, from this point here. Whenever we rejected, I would have thought that we'd shift down to 74K, and I said that actually a bunch of times, that I thought we were going to shift down below 74K very fast from this area. So the fact that we came back up here was a bit of a surprise. But here we are, consolidating here just below the overbought zone, struggling to get overbought, right? You can see clearly that this is not the same behavior that we were exhibiting here whenever we were in a bit of a more bullish trend. And you can see the rounding off of this kind of price action. I do not believe that this is bullish. I do believe it's bearish, but again, we are seeing signs where it is sufficient enough evidence to believe that we can go maybe a little bit above 80K. I'm not calling for that. If we get above 80K, I'm not going to be like, haha, I told you. In fact, the call since February has been that we will not get above 80K for the rest of the year. We've entertained the thought, but I've never actually formally made the call that we get above 80K. But we definitely have addressed these short positions getting cleared out there. So if we're above 80K, I'm not going to be like, it's going exactly as predicted. It's just not going to be a surprise. It's not the prediction. It's just, if it happens, maybe that's a better opportunity to go short. It's not that surprising though. However, I'm sticking with the call. I am sticking with the call that we are going to move down, that this is a double top. To me, it looks more bearish. I'd rather be bearish here and be wrong for this amount than be slightly bullish, trying to be bullish, and then I catch on with the bearish narrative after the move's already happened. You know, this would just be further winding of the inevitable. That's all it is, in my opinion. So I'm sticking with the bearish side. There's enough evidence here to be a little bit bullish, but not enough for me to decisively make that call. The stochastics they're kind of bullish as well, but if you reject here, if you do reject here, you're kind of at a point of rejection for both the RSI and the stochastics and the MACD. So it's interesting. I am going to stick with the bearish side. There's a little bit of evidence to be bullish, but I keep repeating myself. I'm going to move on there. Looking at the RSI, we do have lower lows. We do have lower highs here. Okay, I would assume that we continue to move down again until we're oversold. And the way that this looks, it could be, you guys, it could be June. If we maintain a trajectory like this, where we're in a range, we're getting oversold, it really could be the end of June or the beginning of July. Whenever you get oversold like this, that typically represents, I mean, look at it here. Whenever we got oversold, that represented the breakout of this move overall, right? We're in this range. You're in this kind of channel upwards. We did break out back here. You weren't oversold yet, but the breakout move happened once you got oversold. You see what I'm saying there? So in other words, we might be working our way down through the month of May, through the month of June, but it'll be June or July, which is exactly what we called for back in February. It'll be June or July that we formally break out of this range and that we find hopefully, the bear market lows. We're very close, guys. Maybe not in price, kind of in price. We're very close in price, I think, but we're very close in time. That's what we're very close in. The stochastics here are showing bearish divergence. The RSI is showing bearish divergence. The MACD is showing bearish divergence. We just really haven't seen that move down yet, have we? This is the highest the oscillators have been in a while. We've been green for quite a while. We are cross red here. I think a bullish effect to take would be if we cross green, and if we could build momentum past these points, that would be a very bullish sign. If we cross green and it's a false cross, if we had like a false cross like this but to the green effect, that would be a very bearish sign. And if the bearish momentum picks up and we're actually picking up momentum, that would be a bearish sign as well. The ball is definitely in the bulls' court right now, but the bears are likely to take it out from underneath them there. Again, showing this here, this lower high kind of trend dynamic. You rejected here, you rejected there. Whenever you broke through it, what happened? You started moving up higher, right? It's nice. But the thing is, for such an exceptional breakout over something that took about a year to form, This is really not that exceptional of a breakout. There's no volume. There's no volume at all, and you're rounding off, guys. This is more bearish. When you do bullish things like this and you don't get bullish results, like you get slightly bullish results, that should make you hesitant, not excited. Right? Take this information for what it is. But I don't really think I have anything else to say. I've done a lot of talking. Volume is depleting. Volume is depleting, and it's specifically also depleting as we are moving higher. That should not get you excited. It's depleting as we are breaking out, quote unquote. It's not exciting. If we can move up, if we can break above these lows and volume starts to come in like this, that would be exciting. We could really start to work with the idea that this is the low, but I see no evidence in the chart that makes me bullish enough to declare that we have found the bottom. I'm firmly in the belief, and confidently so in the belief, that we are going to go lower. I've seen a lot of people on X.com refer to the weekly time frame, and I've said this before. I'm getting ready to wrap the video up here. You guys have probably heard this part before, but I'm just going to say it again anyways. I've seen a lot of people on X.com from the bullish side saying, sorry, not on the weekly, but on the monthly time frame. Let's go to the all-time history here. All-time history. Looking at this, a lot of people are saying, look, the last few times that we've been down in this area, that's been the end of the bear market, right? And you look at this and you take a look, yeah, that's the end of the bear market. Yeah, that's the end of the bear market. Yes, this was the end of the bear market. And yes, you can definitely see where it might be implied that this is the end of the bear market. However, we're cherry picking this data. We're cherry picking this data by saying that. The RSI likes to trend. I don't know if you guys have noticed this just in this one video, let alone your own analysis, but the RSI likes to trend. Notice here how gradually this line is slightly tilted down, but it is tilted down, and gradually we've seen lower highs. This was phenomenally lower. It wasn't anywhere near this. This is what threw a lot of people off, myself included, was the RSI. I was really counting on this to mark the bull market top, but the bearish divergence was there, and I just didn't accept it for what it was. I can talk about my own mistakes another time. I want to get to the point, okay? The trend, the lower highs, the lower lows. We've seen lower lows. And for the people who are bullish, who are referring to the monthly RSI as being in a bullish situation here because we've been in this area every single time that we found a low in the bear market, you're taking out the very important fact that here is a higher low. You're presuming a lot there. And what has been since Bitcoin started, a lower high, lower low trend, still a very bullish RSI on the monthly time frame, incredibly bullish. This is an asset that gets it, man. You know what I mean? It definitely gets it. It gets it hard, but it gets it real hard, man. But we're probably going to see a lower low. That's what I'm getting to. I don't think that the monthly time frame is going to get oversold. In fact, that would be terrible. If we saw the monthly time frame get oversold on the RSI, that would be absolutely horrific for Bitcoin. We've never been oversold before, and I'd like us to stay out of there. But I do believe we're going to see a lower low. I do believe, and I've actually said this since the last bull market, that likely the low will come at a lower low, and from that point we can start assessing whether or not we have our bear market low. And to be fair, it is possible that we see a lower low in the RSI without getting a lower low in the price. That doesn't necessarily need to happen. That would take more time, but you don't need a lower low in the price to get a lower low in the RSI. But anybody who's referring to this, or the stochastics, or even the MACD, I don't know. You know, the stochastics might be a good reference there. So whenever we got out of the oversold zone here, that was bullish. We got out of the oversold zone here, that was bullish. We got out of the oversold zone here, that was bullish. That was all after the bear market lows, every single time. Not a single time did that falter. And here we are getting out of the oversold zone. We technically are. However, let's see. Yeah, however, with this month here, with this month of May, we got a long month in May to go, you guys. If May closes red, the orange will not be out of the oversold zone at all. The blue would not be pointed up. It'd actually be pointed down like this. The orange line would be from here. It would actually be, it might be pointed up still, but less so, if not pointed back down. That would not be a good sign. Getting to the oversold zone and rejecting it like that's actually not a good sign. Just like getting overbought and then rejecting that is a good sign. It's the same thing to the downside. So the stochastics might be your best bet again, with confirming that we're in some type of a bull market or that the bear market's over. But it's not enough. We have to wait about 29 days, about 28 and a half days before we can actually confirm that. And I don't see it with the daily analysis, with the weekly analysis. I don't see it happening. So I've given you everything, man. I don't really have anything else to say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I will see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.